welcome back to Three Men, One Band. I am one of your tri-hosts, the Monkey Man. And next to me, I have the man whose name begins with the letter K.
That's me, Kevin.
Keith. Is it Keith?
Yes,
No, it's Kevin.
Yvonne.
Oh, oh.
And
Yvonne.
then across from me, we have...
John.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
And last week, wink, wink, we talked about the neon trees. Can't wait for everyone to hear that episode. We had some serious disagreements, but that's okay because this week
It
we're
is
talking
okay.
about one of the most iconic metalcore bands of the last 20 years, Ice Nine Kills, and we're going to continue to disagree because that's just what we do. We don't agree on anything.
No,
But
not a bit.
But Kevin picked Ice Nine Kills because they are, according to him, his favorite band in the whole world. Whenever a new song comes out for them, he starts geeking like a little girl.
That
They're
is
one of
totally
my
true.
favorites.
Sorry, they're one of his favorites. His real favorite band is, I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna cover all of Ice Nine Kills albums from Last Chance to Make Amends to the Carter 3. So we're gonna go ahead and Kevin's gonna kick us off. This is his band, so he's gonna give us the backstory, all 50 of their band members, the whole history.
I will
That's where
do
you come
my
in.
best.
There we go.
Can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you perfectly.
No, I
Okay.
can't hear you. Can you speak up?
John, can you shut the hell up?
Yeah, can you just yell for the whole thing?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Talk louder, please.
Yeah, there's dogs barking outside.
Are you
All
going to
right,
call the
so
cops on your neighbor again? Jeez.
Yeah.
are you gonna let me
All right.
start, John?
All right, Kevin, let's get started. We've been waiting for this.
All right. Ice Nine
All right.
Kills. They were first formed in the year 2000. The first member from Boston, Massachusetts. First two guys to really kickstart this group were Spencer. I'm probably gonna say his last name wrong. Uh, Jordan, do you know how to say his last name?
Isn't it Charnas
That's what I was gonna say. I just didn't want to be wrong.
or Charnhass or something like that? Hang on, let me look up his last name again.
I got it. Yeah.
Wow, he doesn't have his last name on here. We'll just call him Spence.
I'll just call him Spencer.
There we go.
Spencer and Jeremy Schwartz.
Yes.
They formed when they were in high school. And what I have here, so for their history, they later recruited their first drummer, Grant Newstead, in 2003,
Mm-hmm.
and then added Patrick Morse. They swapped out Patrick Morse for, I'm assuming his name is Hobby. I don't know how to say his last name. Holy moly.
I do not know. Just say the first names if you can't pronounce the second name.
I'm going to call him Hobby.
There we go. Hobby Lobby. We got it.
There we go. In 2002, they recorded a demo, which would eventually be released in 2009, entitled The Pop Punk Ska Years. Later on, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Later on down the road, they released their first EP, Burning.
Yes.
The band set out on several tours in support of the EP, including the opening slots on tours with Icy Stars, I Set to Kill, and As I Lay Dying, A Day to Remember, Thursday, and Paramore. So later into the later 2000s, they started to get onto their tour. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm not doing a good job, but
No, you're doing fine.
So, what else do I have here? So going on later into the late 2000s, in 2009, the original member that formed the band with Spencer Schwartz left the band after struggling with life on the road.
Yeah.
So Spencer's really the only original member from the band. Um,
Yeah.
what else do I have from this? They first started, their first Warped Tour appearance was in 2009. So they didn't really get off to a hot start in the early 2000s, but closer towards 2010, like
Yeah.
after the burning, they started to gain some momentum. Let's see, what else do I have here?
That I believe. They really didn't
And
get any kind of momentum until they got heavier, basically.
yeah, like the whole ska thing and everything, they really didn't have any traction or weren't getting any real popularity from it.
No.
So from 2010 to 2013, that's when they released Safe as Just a Shadow and The Predator. This is when they were showing signs to me of starting to get more like to me they weren't fully committed to like the heavy stuff that they're into now.
Yeah, but it was
But
there.
I think there were signs like maybe were testing the waters just to see what kind of
Yeah.
reaction they would get.
They were waiting to see what Chris Brown's latest hit was.
So yeah, they were at Warped Tour again in 2010. What else do I have?
Oh, they played back to back. That's pretty rare. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, 29. Yeah, they were in 29, 2010.
Was that the last Warp Tour they played? No, why am I even asking that? Because I saw them in 2018 at that Warp Tour.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think so.
I don't ever see them at any other ones. Because I went to 15, 16, 17, 18, and I only saw them at 18. They might have been at the other ones on a smaller stage, but I think I only saw them at 18.
Yeah, in 2012, they were the opening act for the 2012 edition of All the Stars tour featuring Suicide Silence, The World Alive, Dance Gavin Dance, Icy Stars, and Attilia.
God damn. I wish I'd gone to that tour. Holy crap.
Yeah, like they
That's awesome.
started, you can just tell they're gaining momentum, they're getting noticed,
Yeah.
they're really starting to get a reputation.
Yes.
The Predator was released January 15th, 2013. That debuted at number 9 on the Billboard's Heat Seekers chart. On July 9th, one of the first songs that I really liked by Ice Nine Kills that kind of got me into them, The Coffin is Moving.
Hmm.
Debuted, that's one of my favorite ones, so that's just kind of like a side note, but
Which album was that?
that is a Predator from
Oh,
20.
okay.
Yeah. Going forward, they had The Predator Becomes the Prey in 2014. I'm trying to see if what do I have? Uh, The Predator Becomes the Prey marks the band's first entrance on the Billboard Top 200 chart, landing at 153.
That's
What else do I have? They performed at Warped Tour again in 2014. February of that same year, they released another one of my early favorites from them, Let's Bury the Hatchet in Your Head.
Oh, that's a great song.
Yes, that's another one of my top songs from them. Going forward, anything from 2015 to 2018, they released Every Trick in the Book, which was another good album.
Heck yeah.
One of the more, I think, probably the more popular or famous songs from that album, The Communion of the Cursed. It was a shortened remake of The Exorcist. That's a cool music video if you guys check
Yes.
that out or not. Yeah,
That
I
is
love the
that
music videos.
that song was my entrance into Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah, they have
That's the
some
first
really cool
thing.
music videos.
Yeah, that's the first thing I ever heard from them.
Yeah. Um.
Well,
Let's
after that, they
see.
only have 2 more albums.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Which Silver Screams and Welcome to Horrorwood, which to me I think are their two most popular albums.
Yeah,
But you know, you and I both agree that I think they kind of, I mean, they not kind of, they've been milking that one album for I don't know how many years, and that's kind of annoying. But
gotta make the money.
yeah,
Gotta make the money. They're doing it, and they had. Isn't that when they had the graphic novel come out for Silver Scream, or was that Horrorwood?
I think it was Silver Scream.
Okay,
I
yeah, I don't
think
remember.
I could be wrong,
Yeah, I mean the
but I
merch they
think
could do with this is just unlimited. They could literally milk this forever as long as they wanted.
yeah, I really like how they, like especially with Welcome to Horrorwood, it's like really like based off horror films, like with all the music videos. I think it's pretty cool how they do that.
Yeah, well, wasn't Silver Scream like that?
For that too, I guess both albums, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think so.
2018
Yeah,
I think 2018 to now is where they get most of their main popular, like their biggest hits. Like I think this is what really put them on the map is like one of the top metalcore bands because they just have like a different. To me, they're different. Well, they could be different, but to me,
they
they've got a
managed to
certain.
really, they really managed to cross uh heavy and poppy together. So they were super heavy, but got the really catchy songs to really mesh with those last 2 albums.
Yeah, I think
Which is
everyone,
what
all of
helped.
them do a good job. But Spencer has a really good voice, and I don't know, they all mesh together and flow very well.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
And
pretty much. I didn't really. The one thing I didn't do is I see they have a lot of former members. I didn't look into why a lot of them left.
I know them. Yeah,
The only one I looked into was the one who passed away, and that was a
yeah.
drug overdose. But
I know the big one was the recent one. It was the guitarist. It was JD. I can't remember his full name. It was like JD. He left, I think, the last year or two. Or heck, even now, it might have been right before Horrorwood. It's been that long. But he was like the second screamer, so he was really big up until Silver Scream, and then he left because of him and Spencer did not get along from everything that I've read. But that happens in bands.
from
Bands very rarely stay together, especially for 20 years, 25 years. It just doesn't happen.
And from what I looked up, I didn't really see too many controversies from them. I've heard
Nah,
where Spencer himself said he's a perfectionist, so I guess that could rub people the wrong way. Guess I guess he wants everything. He's just it's got to
I
be
believe it.
perfect. It's got to be. So I could see how that could annoy some people that he works with, and
I won't. Oh,
they are banned from. Let me find it. They're banned from performing at the House of Blues in Orlando, Florida, from Disney
Why?
due to their use of violence and their videos, like how gory their videos are.
I believe. I think I did read about that.
But they cannot perform there.
So we're gonna have to go see them there.
That's the mission.
All right. You got anything else, or do you want to jump into the albums?
If you guys are ready, we can go into the first album, which would be The Burning, I believe.
Let's do it. Turn me on.
Okay, so for my notes for The Burning, this wasn't one of my favorite albums by them. This is when
Wait,
they were more.
did
Huh?
this come out before? This came out before the Last Chance to Make Amends.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Now I'm confused. John, did you listen to Last Chance to Make Amends?
That was the EP, correct?
Yeah, and it was on Spotify.
Oh, I know that it was on Spotify, but no, I did not listen to it.
Okay, so I guess
Jordan,
me and
you're
Kevin
I,
just talk about it.
I did listen to that. That's my bad. I was looking at the wrong page. I did listen to that.
It's okay, bro. We'll move past this.
I mean, do you want to go over it?
We can talk about Last Chance to Make Amends really quick.
I mean, to me, it wasn't anything. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it again.
So this album has a lot of fans. And a big reason for that is because I believe this album was really big on like MySpace and stuff, and this is how they got a lot of their initial like name recognition and initial push. I don't think there's any ska or anything on this one. This one's pretty much kind of like a straight pop or post hardcore album. And I will say, going into this, I did not have any expectations. I didn't look anything up about it, and I came out loving this album.
Really?
I think this album, because it doesn't have like a horror theme or a book theme or anything. It really showcased how well his songwriting truly was, especially the lyricism on this album was amazing. I loved to Build a Bridge and Jump Off of It. That was a great song. And I loved how we have the first iteration of What I Really Learned in Study Hall, because we have multiple songs and albums that really call back to that. So you get the first one here. So I think there's 3 versions of the study halls. There's like What I Really Learned, What I Never Learned, and Should Have Learned or something. But I ended up giving this album a 7.5. It would have been over an 8 if not for one horrible thing. It has the horrible, and you guys might understand this. It has the horrible Saint Anger Metallica effect of an awful snare drum. Holy moly. That's all I heard on a lot of it. So it lost a lot in that production for me. But 7.5 is what this album gets from me. Highest rating yet of any album we've gone over.
I was gonna say, looking back
the
over
highest we've given out is a 7.8
today. Yeah.
Wow.
I got you, bro.
I didn't realize that.
All right.
I will agree, Jordan. Build Off a Bridge and Jump Off. That was a good song. I did enjoy that. That was probably one of the only ones that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
What I really learned in study hall, I do like those 3 songs, like how it continues over into the other albums.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I ended up giving this one it's just a solid 6. I didn't think it was awful, but
it's not too bad.
Wasn't anything too interesting to me.
There's a lot of people out there asking for this to get brought over to streaming, and I believe Spencer has hinted at him remaking this album, like redoing it. So we'll see what the future holds. There's a chance, but
you never know.
I guess from here we would go on to The Burning, right?
Yes, The Burning.
Yeah.
All right.
So The Burning I liked more than the previous one. To me, the greatest story ever told. It showed early-ish signs. This might just be a me thing, but it showed early signs of them hinting at getting heavier. Dead is the New Black, I thought was okay. You scratched. Oh, I can't even read my handwriting on that. You scratched my
back, balls,
back.
What?
I don't know.
All of the above.
You scratched my something. I said was not bad.
Wait, Build
Your Own Disaster. I did not like. The second, What I Should Have Learned in Study Hall, I liked. Yes. Like I said, that was good. Last Words I thought was all right. I gave this one a 6.5. Again, I don't think I would go back to re-listen to this. I thought it was okay. I didn't think there was anything too impressive with this.
It's them trying to find their feet still. Um, John, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I can go next because I only had a few notes about this one.
Go for it.
Overall, I thought the drums and the guitar throughout were nice. I thought they added a lot. They didn't overwhelm. They were just good, solid, parts. And with the screaming that they did do in this, it wasn't overdone to me. It wasn't the entire song. It was snippets of the song. Like we talked about before, they find a good balance between being metal and screaming and being poppy and catchy. And that was enjoyable for me. So I thought it was very tasteful the way they used their screaming, which helped them use this like variety of different moods that they were making you feel and different styles in which they were performing. The one song that I really highlighted that I liked on this album was What I Should Have Learned in Study Hall. I thought that was a neat song. I enjoyed that. But overall, I'd say it was a solid debut album. There was just nothing really especially good about it or especially bad. So I gave it kind of like an average score. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10.
That's a pretty good score. I mean, yeah, I'll agree with you on that. The instrumentals are great, guitars, drums. I was not the biggest fan of the production. You can still see that they're in the early stages as, I guess, a band, even though they're 7 years in. The production still isn't fully there compared to a lot of contemporaries that had albums out in the genre at this time. But what I should have learned in study hall, great second chapter to that song series. But I have to go out on a limb here, and a lot of people probably would agree with me on the interwebs, not here. But I personally think that the greatest story ever told is one of, if not their best song to date still.
That's interesting. I mean, it's not a bad song.
And it even got remade on the next album, but better production doesn't really change it. I put it up there just for the guitar, the lyricism. It's just a great song.
Okay. Now, I will say to that, Jordan, one of my notes for the next album is for Greatest Story Ever Told might be my favorite song on that album. So I agree it's a good song. I do enjoy that one.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I gave this album a 7.2. Very respectable. It's right there in the good, not great range. And from there, Kevin can just kick us on up to Safe is Just a Shadow.
So a trend I think you guys are gonna start seeing is just as they progress, my scores are just gonna get higher and higher because
Sounds like my wiener.
But Proximity Mines in the Complex, Heavy Start, that was a good song to start off the album. You know how I like a good that and a good attention grabbing song to get your attention, get you hooked into the album to see what comes next. Buildings Burn, People Die. I really like the screaming. It's heavy. Chris Brown's latest hit, which is just a funny title for a song.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that.
But the event itself was not funny.
No,
we don't think that's funny.
No, we don't joke about that on Hot Mic.
No.
No, definitely not.
So This Is My Future I thought wasn't bad. Acceptance in Waves I didn't really care for. Red Sky, I like the beat and the screams. I thought that was good. The People Under the Stairs, I like the breakdown at the end of that.
You're talking about Harry Potter.
Shut up. The greatest story ever told, especially like as you guys said on the last album. I thought that was good on this album too.
Yes.
Stop
I
capping. You just said you didn't like it.
Yeah, man.
What are you talking about?
Pick a lane, damn it.
I said it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
that means it wasn't good either.
so it wasn't
There's no
bad. It wasn't good.
there's no pleasing either of you.
There is certain ways to.
But yeah, for me, they're just steadily on an incline going forward. From the next album going on is really when I'm gonna start glazing them. So just get ready for that.
I have glazed donuts upstairs.
This is a no glazing zone, Kevin. We're gonna need you to calm down.
All right, so let me step right in. What did you give this album? What was your score?
6.9.
How convenient. You said you're going to glaze them and you just go right for the 69. All right, buddy. So,
Mm-mm.
this is an album that I have continuously always come back to. This is as I call, a no skip album. I can literally throw this album on, listen to it for hours on end. This continues an ongoing progression. As you have stated, the production is better. They are starting to really find their footing here. I will always name Chris Brown's latest hit as a top tier song of theirs. And then, of course, Greatest Story Ever Told is one that I will always glaze over. It is just, it's just a beautiful, beautiful song. Even better production than when it was in The Burning. But, that too. I was looking at here on Spotify. I did not realize that they still sell this album on vinyl, so I might have to snag one of those. But yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about this album. I mean, from here it just goes on, and they just keep getting better. This album gets a solid 8.0 from me.
Oh, so a new high
Wow.
score.
A new high score today.
Well, while I didn't quite share your enthusiasm, Jordan, I'm not far off. I did start off my notes with saying that to me this album was noticeably heavier than The Burning was, and that there is more screaming and that I wasn't super into it, but
Yeah.
I did like a couple of the songs. I thought Red Sky Warning was pretty good, Evidence on Fire was pretty good. But then my two, you know, favorites from the album, I'm not sure which I liked better, would have been Chris Brown's latest hits and Greatest Story Ever Told. I thought those were a cut above everything else on the album.
Quite a cut above the rest.
Yeah, and in overall, like again, I think it was an okay album. I think they took some steps forward from their first album. But to me, it was still a lot of meh. Like I could live with it, I could live without it. It wouldn't bother me either way. But those four songs I mentioned, were solid. And again, I just hammered home that it was a little bit too much screaming for what I'm into. So I did give it a higher score. I went from 7.5 up to a 7.8. So we're in the same neighborhood, but I'm not quite there with you.
So if you do the screaming in this, all I'm going to hear is that your scores are going to go lower from here on out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kevin's going to get so angry. I'm going to feel his boner through the mic.
You're
right,
too far
so-
away from him to feel that.
All right,
so
Kevin, kick us off onto Predator Becomes the Prey.
the predator becomes the prey. This is where I start to really the glazing's gonna happen. The Power and Belief I thought was a really good opener. I talked about how much I like Let's Bury the Hatchet in Your Head. That's the first song I have on here where I have in all caps where it's just banger. I will never not skip that song. That song to me is great, followed up by another great song. that I already talked about. The Coffin is Moving. I think that's a great song. The fastest way to a girl's heart, or the fastest way to a girl's heart is through her rib cage. I thought was pretty good. The Product of Hate, I didn't like as much.
Oh my god.
I think
Wow.
this is Correct
Jesus
the Cuts. I can't read my
Christ.
handwriting, but
Connect the cuts.
Connect the Cuts. I really like the breakdown. Great song. It was a good ending. That was good.
Oh, see, I disagree. I disagree.
Okay, well then the
Oh.
song Jonathan. I don't like that song, John. No
I
offense.
do agree with that. That is a bad song.
What?
I did not like
I
Jonathan.
don't agree with that.
What I Never Learned in Study Hall. Again, I thought that was a good. I like that song. And So Long. God, I have horrible handwriting.
Yeah, you do.
Who is it? So Long what?
So long, farewell.
So long, Stephen Long.
Stephen Long. Yes, I can't read my
Yes.
handwriting. That was all right. What Lies Beneath was very good. My Life in Two, it wasn't as catchy in my opinion, but it was good. This is where I start my high scores. I gave this one an 8.4.
Whoa.
Holy moly, I thought you were about to say
Whoa.
this is where I start high school for a second. I was gonna be so
Oh.
confused, bro.
Yep, Kevin just graduated to the 9th grade.
Oh my god. All right.
Well, Kevin,
Uh
that's some bold takes right there.
yeah.
And
John,
I'm
you
going
can
to tell
kick
you why
off.
you're wrong.
There
Yeah,
you go.
so I agree, Kevin, with The Coffin is Moving is a pretty good song. I enjoyed that. I also liked Connect the Cuts until they did their last 20 seconds, which I assume that's what you're talking about is their breakdown. I did not like the last 20 seconds or so of that. I thought it ruined everything they had tried to put in the song. It was not it for me. I do think the song Jonathan is catchy,
Mm-hmm.
like catchy
Mm-hmm.
enough, but for a
Mm-hmm.
song that was written for me about me, they screamed way too much for me to like it. So I like the guitar was cool and the drums were okay. Um, I think they might have been a little heavy with the cymbals, but it yeah, for a song written for me, it wasn't written for me. That's what I thought when I listened to it. I was like, what? What are they doing? That's not me at all. But at least there's no H in there, so like they got that part right. Um Overall though, I do think this album was a little bit better than their original album, but not as good as the last one. What even was the last one called? The Safe is Just a Shadow or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as good as that one.
Interesting.
I
Very interesting.
still feel like in general there's no like major standout song that it's just like blows me away and I'm like this is it. This is the song. But they also haven't had anything that's like a super miss either. So for me 3 albums in they just kind of are sitting in this
What about
middle
their
of the road.
song? What about their song Super Hit Miss?
All right, well, that was a super hit and a super miss, all in
All right.
one.
So let me tell you how to actually glaze an album. So look at the album cover. Nothing else needs to be said. So Predator Becomes the Prey. This is what 2014. This was the beginning of their entrance into. I don't want to say mainstream's not a good word. I would say like the upper echelon of like the scene. This is where they are starting to get to the upper reaches, especially the heavier side of the scene in that sort of music. The whole Warped Tour scene thing is what I mean when I say the scene. But clearly they are doing the right things where um So what I never learned in study hall, they have Tyler Carter as a feature. This dude has already been around the block. He was already in a top 3 metalcore band. He was the lead singer of Woe Is Me. Getting him as a feature on this was pretty nuts. At this point, I think in this year they had a cover appear on one of the Pop Goes Punk albums, or Punk Goes Pop. And I think he did a cover of Animal that year. If I'm not mistaken.
Tree song.
It was a good, or was it Someone Like You?
No, it was Animal.
I thought he did both. I don't know. I don't remember. No, it was definitely Someone Like You. It was another one then. But what I never learned in study hall, I hear it on a weekly basis. Also from this album, Let's Bury the Hatchet in Your Head. Weekly basis, I hear it. Fastest Way to a Girl's Heart is through a ribcage. Hear it every single week. I mean, this album, I've never said this before, but this is a no-skip album for me. I mean, I could listen to this album for hours on end. When I put it on, I could just sit there and listen to it. But this album they are right there on that cusp of breaking out. And I give this album a solid 8.2.
Another high score.
Another high score, man. It's crazy.
We were pretty close there.
Well, I went 7.7, so Jordan met in the middle of us.
That's all right. All right, Kevin, show us all your tricks in the book.
I'm going to show you how to glaze even more now.
Show me how to glaze a donut.
So every trick in the book, score continues to go up. The Nature of the Beast, I thought, was a great start. Communion of the Cursed, again, all I have for that is, to me, that's another classic from them. That's a banger. That's a no skip for me. Bloodbath and Beyond, I thought was good and catchy. The Plot Sickens, again, it was heavy, it was catchy. I liked the guitar solo in it. Star-Crossed Enemies wasn't as heavy, but it wasn't bad. Me, Myself, and Hyde, I thought was alright. It wasn't my favorite, but I didn't dislike it. Alice, same thing, not bad. I like the second half more than the first half.
Oh, okay.
The People in the Attic, fast, heavy. That's my speed. Testimony, not bad. Hell in the Hallways, that was a good way to end the album. That was a good song to end it. This album got a solid 8.6.
That's it? Oh, boy. Kevin, this is where you're going to hate me. Are you ready?
Ready to start screaming.
So, every trick in the book came out in 2015. Now, the song The Communion of the Cursed. Communion of the Cursed. This is the first song I ever heard by Ice Nine Kills. I had never been into them, gotten into them. I had been on the Metalcore subreddit for years at this point, and I had never, ever given them a listen. Maybe in passing, I had heard Fastest Way to a Girl's Heart or whatever with the Tyler Carter feature. Maybe I'd heard that, but I don't remember. But this album came out, I said, you know what? We're going to listen. I think Community of the Curse was a single that came out before. I had heard it. This album is a absolute banger, no skip album for me. I have never said that for any album before. I could listen to this album for hours on end. I do listen to it for hours on end on a weekly basis. Now, I mean, this is where you really start to see every song has a meaning. Not like a meaning. It represents like a different story or whatever. So, Nature of the Beast, I mean, you cannot get any more epic of a beginning to an album right here. I mean, going over, like, straight Animal Farm by George Orwell. Music video is awesome. I love it. Communion of the Cursed, heavy as crap. Love it. Exorcist, love it. And then you get into Bloodbath and Beyond, Dracula song. Not my favorite one on the album, but guess what? It's a banger, so it's going to stay. The Plot Sickens. This is where you have the story of the Andes survivors. Oh, man. Great song. Listen to it all the time. Star-Crossed Enemies, Romeo and Juliet. Oh, great song. Listen to it all the time. Me, Myself, and Hyde. You got a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde song. This song is an absolute banger. It is in all of my playlist. Alice, one of my favorite songs by them. And it is from, what is it from? Go Ask Alice, I believe. It's about the girl who descends into like drug addiction and stuff. Then you got the people in the attic. I don't know how he even thought to do a song about freaking Anne Frank of all people, but this is a great album or a great song. I do not understand doing a song about the diary of Anne Frank. That's just wild to me. Testimony. I don't remember what this one was about, but I love this song. And then Hell in the Hallways. Obviously, if you watch the music video, this is Carrie from Stephen King. This album right here, man. Let me tell you about this album. This album is in my top 10 albums of all time.
A great album.
This album is one of my favorite albums of all time. And did I mention that it's one of my favorite albums of all time?
You should say one more time.
No.
This album gets the highest score ever from me. And it's the highest score of any Ice Nine Kills album from me. This is their peak for me. This was their peak. This album gets a 9.6 from me.
Wow, you're in pop psychology territory with that score, brother.
Absolutely not. That's like 3.0 territory.
All right, you're in my pop psychology rating.
Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking. Show me your glaze.
Wow.
John,
Insane.
what do you have to say?
I mean, honestly, I think you guys hit a lot of it on the head. The songs that I really liked from this album would have been Nature of the Beast and The Plot Sickens. Those were my two favorites. I did think it was neat kind of how they told all these stories through their songs, and the entire album was written like that. But yeah, you guys really took all the good things to say. Your glazing is too hard, so I just didn't like it as much as you guys did. It's actually going backwards a little bit for me. I gave it a 7.5. I've been in the same range so far every album, so it's just another solid, but I probably wouldn't listen to many of these songs outside of this podcast.
Glazing had ended.
But it's about to restart, probably.
Is it? All right, Kevin, this is where we're going to start the arguments. Let's hear your Silver Scream.
Yeah, we're going to get into it here because the glazing's only going to get even worse.
Oh my. Glaze on me, brother.
All right, the Silver Scream. Where do I even begin?
Probably the beginning of the album.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
That's a good
Stupid.
point. I should start with the American Nightmare. And you know what it is? And you better get used to this word. It's a banger.
I don't get it.
No,
Thank
I don't
God
either.
it's Friday. Thank God that follows right. Thank God it's Friday, which follows next. You know what that is? It's a banger.
That's a Katy Perry song is what it is.
Yep, that's what it was based off of.
Stabbing in the Dark. Banger.
Yep. Also Katy Perry song.
Shut up. Savages I did not like. It sounded more like radio rock. So
hey, we actually agree on one. There we go. High five.
Yeah. Savages. No, that's not it. I think this is The Sun Is Up. The Jig is up. Sorry, the Jig is up. That's a good
Sun
song.
is up.
It's Jig.
The sun.
The Jig is up.
The jig is up.
A Grave Mistake. It's a banger. Rocking the Boat.
Yeah.
I thought was great too. Enjoy Your Sleigh. At first, I didn't like, but the more I listened to it, I started to like. So I kind of had to listen to that a few times, but it grew on me, and I enjoy it. Freak Flag is another song in the album where I thought it was rock radio, and I did not enjoy it. The World in My Hands was okay. It was kind of too relationshipy. I mean, that's another song I wouldn't listen to again.
That makes sense.
Merry Xmas is one of, I said this, it's gonna be another banger. Um, I think it's cool that they made a heavy metal song centered around Christmas because I haven't heard any other band do it, but I thought that was
Trans-Siberian
pretty good.
Orchestra.
Huh?
The Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Word.
They put out a heavy Christmas song.
Well, not as good as Merry Xmas.
Oh gosh.
Disagree.
Love Bites was okay, and
And
It Is
so
the
do I.
End. It Is the End is another banger. I
No,
figure.
it's not. There's more bonus tracks.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
It Is the End was another banger. The glaze is only getting heavier. I gave this album a 9.2.
That's it.
Holy.
Shut up.
All right, John, who's going to fight Kevin first, me or you?
You go for it. You feel
Oh,
strong.
my. All right. So, the Silver Scream. How could they ever possibly follow up every trick in the book? Well, they could follow it up by releasing another album, which they did. So,
That is a crazy idea. I never would have thought of that.
So there was a lot of hype going into this. How can they possibly follow up every trick in the book? Well, let me tell you, they did it, and they did it tenfold, but not as good. So let's dive into the Silver Scream a little bit from my perspective. So the American Nightmare, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this was the first single released for the album. It was either this or Grave Mistake. I don't know which. But when I saw them at the 2018 Warped Tour, which was amazing, by the way, they all came out dressed up in horror get-ups. All I remember from that was them playing The American Nightmare, because Silver Scream had not come out yet. They played this. They played Community of Cursed, Greatest Story Ever Told, Nature of the Beast, and I don't remember the last song. They only played 5 songs, but no, American Nightmare, great song. Nightmare on Elm Street, love it. Thank God It's Friday, great song, banger, love it. Friday the 13th. Stabbing in the Dark, this song right here is what is up there with Greatest Story Ever Told and Communion of the Curse as their top song for me. Both, especially with the music video, and I love Halloween. Halloween's one of my favorite movies. I love it. Savages, I did not like it. I've also never seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it's not for me. Jig Is Up, I love Saw, did not care for this song. Grave Mistake, I don't really care for this song a lot. I don't. I did like Rocking the Boat. I did like Rocking the Boat, which is Jaws. Enjoy Your Slay is okay. I'm not super into it. Freak Flag kind of throws me off because this song was also about it, because there's 2 songs on here with it in it, so it's kind of odd. But Freak Flag was okay. I don't think it's one of the heavier ones, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it is. World of My Hands is probably the bottom song for me, because right now I'm looking at it and I could not tell you a single lyric in the song. I really can't. That's how unforgettable it is. And it's also Edward Scissorhands, which I've never seen. Merry Xmas, I love Until the Breakdown. I do not like deathcore, and that's what it turns into. But up until then,
and I love that breakdown.
But it's pretty good up until then. Love Bites, I don't care for. I didn't care for the movie either. An American Werewolf in London. It Is the End is the other song that is up there to me as their best song. Great music video, and this is also the other song about it. and then with this song, they brought back their ska roots. They brought back, I think they had Less Than Jake on here and Phoenix TX. They had some horns in there. Kevin doesn't like ska, but boy, did he love this song for some reason. He was blazing about it. This is their ska song. But no, Silver Scream. I mean, this is where they really blend metalcore and like theatrical storytelling, and they do a very good job at it. The only thing that I'm not too keen on with this album is that I kind of wish the songs would lead into each other a little bit more. They kind of just stop. All right, here's the next movie. Stop. Here's the next movie. There's nothing like overarching. Like every trick in the book, yeah, it was a different story, but the songs kind of bled into each other as you listened. So this album, sadly, only gets a 9.0 from me.
How dare you?
Well, once again, you guys are going to be a good deal higher than me, and that's totally fine. I do, though, agree, Jordan. Things felt a little disjointed, might be an exaggeration here, but you're right. They definitely didn't flow one song into the next. It was. I don't want to say it felt like a compilation of singles, so I'm just going to move on.
I mean, it's what it really was.
Yeah, but some of the songs that I did like would have been. Let me look through here and find them. I did like the Thank God It's Friday. I thought that was pretty good. I actually didn't mind Savages too much. I haven't seen that movie, but I did think the song itself was okay. Stabbing in the Dark, I wasn't huge on. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. I didn't like it as much as you guys seem to have enjoyed it. I did, though. You were talking about It Is the End having, a little more ska roots. I liked the return back to that sound and kind of throw back to what they once were. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a big ska fan, but I did like that sound that they were giving with the brass and the horns and doing a little more with that. So I thought that was a fun twist and kind of a fun change to kind of where they've been going a lot. I've completely shifting gears here, but that's how my brain's working tonight. I've been trying to think about this band that I'm not quite sure it's a heavy Christmas song that they've put out, but oh gosh, and it just left my head again. Mannheim Steamroller does a lot of interesting Christmas cover remakes. I don't necessarily know that I'd call it heavy. It's, I guess, more orchestral.
Yeah. Kind of like TSO.
Techno, yeah. So it's like that Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but maybe not as heavy as what we've heard here.
Well, then you should pick them next.
I have a different band that I'm picking next, but maybe Mannheim Steamroller. I do like their music. They might make it on here one week.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an okay album. Like, I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to it. So I've actually given this one my lowest score to date. Which is only a 7.2, so it's not really that lower.
It's very interesting to hear you say that about this album, like about this album and stuff, but then you gave a lot of high praise to Her Last Sight.
You did.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, this band, I don't know. I've had a long, rough week, so maybe I just wasn't as... Is
it because Her Last Sight commented on our YouTube?
Yeah, I've been so pumped about that.
I told them to fuck off.
You better not. Hey, they said that they're going to do an America tour just for us, man. They're coming to Salisbury, and
they're going to come and teach Kevin how to tell you when an album is out.
Yeah. And how to listen to the second album the band puts out.
Oh well, it was a good single they put out, so that's good. We were all on the edge of our seat waiting for that album, and it was a long one-song album.
Oh, it was the
Shut
longest one
up.
album.
All right, so
All right, we
that
got
leads
one.
us into Horrorwood.
Yep, this is my mega glaze here, so I hope you guys are ready.
Donuts.
Welcome to Horrorwood Silver Screen
Wait, no,
Part
I'm not
2.
ready. I'm not ready. Don't glaze yet.
Hang on, I haven't
It's
listened to
too
the
late.
album yet.
It's
Yeah, I
too
haven't listened to this album either.
late. I
Can we
thought,
do this some other time,
no.
please?
I thought opening night was a cool little intro to the album. That music video was cool.
Actually, it's not, but
You
whatever.
guys are gonna hear this word again. Welcome to Horrorwood. Gosh darn it, it's a
You already
banger.
welcomed us.
Yeah, I'm getting a little confused here.
Shut up.
This is a great song.
Well, first you welcome us, then tell us to shut up. Come on, dude.
A Rash Decision was a banger. Assault and Batteries, banger. Music video was cool. Shower scene, one of my favorites. That's another banger.
That's my
Funeral
favorite banger
Derangement.
when we're together.
Funeral, funeral, funeral Derangement is another banger. That was a good music video too. Rainy Day was probably my first song in the album that I didn't hate, but it wasn't my favorite. Hip to Be Scared, banger. Take Your Pick, banger. The Box was alright. I didn't really care for Fly.
Most people
Worst
didn't.
Worst Vacation, I thought was good, but I didn't know what they were saying for part of it. Ex Morris, I'm saying that right. What I have it was a groovy breakdown, so I liked that. And Farewell to Flesh, like how it gets heavier the more it goes. This is my favorite album by them well, the last two are probably my two favorites, but I give this one a 9.4 for my highest ranking of an album yet.
Interesting. All right,
Hmm?
John, who goes next? Me or you?
Well, I'll be honest. I thought I listened to this album, but now that I'm looking through it, I definitely did not. So, I don't know what happened there. I'll be honest.
All right.
Oh my god.
So,
There you go.
so I'll kick it off. All right. So the Welcome to Horrorwood, Silver Scream 2. Probably part 2 of 3, to be honest, going forward. So I will agree. Opening night is a cool little intro, and Welcome to Horrorwood is a great song to kick it off. It's that is a banger of a song. And it's all about Scream and the rules of a horror movie. So it's really you're getting in the rules of a horror movie for a horror album, which is awesome. I love that. But then it jumps into Rash Decision and this is Cabin Fever. I've never seen Cabin Fever. Very odd choice for a horror movie, and I love horror movies, and I've never seen this. I did not care for that song. I really didn't. Assault and Batteries. This was a single beforehand, I believe, and I'd heard it a bunch of times already, based off Child's Play, obviously. I love the song except for like the right before the chorus where the doll kicks in. It's a little over the top, gimmicky for me. Shower scene, I did not really care for. I know it's about Psycho, but for like so far for like some of these songs, the movie choice is kind of odd. So you got Funeral Derangements, that's a good song. Pet Cemetery, I love it. Stephen King. Rainy Days is it's okay, and it's Resident Evil, which is weird. Again, Hip to Be Scared is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's their biggest song to date, play wise, like streaming and everything wise. It even had a feature from Jacoby Shaddix. He's the lead singer of Papa Roach. And the feature doesn't make any sense to me because I don't think he says he doesn't say a single word in the song. His feature is in the damn music video. He just gets beheaded. So I just don't understand. Unless I'm completely mishearing the song, I do not know where his feature is. Unless it's where he asks if he likes the early Ice Nine Kills. That might be him. I don't know. But that's a good song. I like that song. American Psycho is also a great movie. Take your pick. I can't tell you a single thing that happens in the song. It's unforgettable for me. And I've also never seen My Bloody Valentine, which is what this one was based off of. The Box is okay. It's a Hellraiser movie, or Hellraiser song. Hellraiser is good. Kind of an odd song for it, I guess. Fly, I'm with you. Not the biggest fan. Obviously, it's based off The Fly. Worst Vacation, spelled with a U, because this is a, I think it was supposed to be German, if I'm not mistaken. But this is inspired by Hostel, which is, again, not really a horror movie. It's about girls just being lured to their death at a hostel, obviously. The only thing I remember from that movie is they have a very gruesome scene where you see someone literally get their Achilles heel cut, and I never want to watch that again. Ugh. But again, we're kind of a weird, not a bad song. It had some German parts in the beginning, I think. Ex Mortis, I'm not big on this song either. And it's The Evil Dead. And then you have Farewell to Flesh, which was Candyman. And again, I'm not super hype on the song, but it's good. But like this album to me, 4 years later, it feels like a letdown to me. It kicks off high and it fizzles out. To me, it fizzles out.
The first half's definitely better than the second half.
Yeah, it fizzles for whatever reason for me. I listened to it once a couple weeks ago. Like I told you before you picked this band, I listened to this whole band all the way through like 4 weeks ago. And you picked them, I was like, oh god, I'm not gonna listen to everything again. And I was sitting here going through all my list. And I realized I could not think of a single song on this album besides Hit to Be Scared. I was like, I'm looking at all of them. I'm like, what song sticks out to me? So I listened to it again and I was like, all right, well, Welcome to Horrorwood's a banger. And then I kept listening. I'm like, none of these just jump out to me. They really don't. I think a lot of that is the movie choice. I mean, where's The Ring? Where's The Grudge? Where is like, I'm missing another big horror movie out there that hasn't been done yet.
Saw.
Saw's already been done. That was Jig Is Up.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You could do like Hereditary, which was a big one from the last 10 years.
Pet Cemetery.
Pet Cemetery's already been done.
Has it?
That was Funeral Derangements. There's a couple out there, but I don't know. It was very odd to put like Resident Evil on here, and even like American Psycho. I just don't think of that as a horror movie. It's just I guess I don't know. Whatever. But I will say that it is still a cut above the rest. I think that this album still gets about... Kevin's going to shoot me. Because I've changed my score 3 times on this. Do you want to hear my first, second, or current score?
Current.
I want to hear all of them.
The first score I gave this was a 6.3.
What the hell?
Dang.
That was my lowest score for any of their albums. So, and then after listening to it a second time, I gave it an 8.8.
That's a crazy difference.
And then I listened to it a third time because I was like, is this really better than all those other albums I've listened to except for Silver Scream and Every Trick in the Book? And I was like, no. So I listened to it a third time. And I landed on a 7.9. which
That's
is
not
right
bad.
there at that 8.0 cusp.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't have a lot of stuff that I can go back to. Now, I will say the newest song was really good. The whatever. What is it called? Art something?
Oh goodness. Yeah.
It just came out. Work of art.
Yeah.
Ah, and I was wrong. A Grave Mistake is their biggest song so far. Followed by American Nightmare and then Hip to Be Scared. But it's crazy because like all their top played songs is literally all from this newest album. Except for Stabbing in the Dark and the other two. But yeah. So they kind of had a high peak there and then a little bit of a steady decline for me. Nothing too crazy. All the albums are listenable and good. Hopefully John listens to it someday, and then he can do his own little mini pod.
Maybe. No, I definitely will listen to it. I didn't realize that I hadn't until just a few minutes ago.
Oh my god, that's the worst. All right, what else we got? Anything else to say? Final thoughts?
This band was okay. Like they were every other band I've either really liked an album or really disliked another album. This band, I apparently with the exclusion of Silver Screen too, I just thought all their stuff was solid.
Mid. Yeah.
Like it was mid. Like I wouldn't listen to them over some other groups or all that much in general, but it was all just like solid. There was no weak
I'm okay
points.
with that. I'm okay with that. What are your final thoughts, Kevin?
Obviously I think I really want them to come out with a new album. I think
It's been
that they
4 years.
Yeah, they have such a big following, like Spotify. I think they have like 2 million followers.
Yeah.
They have such a big following. I don't understand what's taking like because Work of Art is a good single.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why they're not doing it.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe when Welcome to Horrorwood came out, or Horrorwood or whatever, when it came out, I believe they got up to 6 million Spotify listeners, and they have really fizzled down as they just haven't put anything out. They have been slacking. But yeah, they had more listeners than Neon Trees there for a minute.
Not possible.
How's
Neon
that?
Trees.
Don't
Neon
they have like
Trees is
6
the
million?
best band of all time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, pop psychology. We're like bullshit
And
pop
wait,
my
sorry,
ass psychology.
you said Ice Nine Kills had 6 million listeners?
I think at one point they did.
Well, Neon Trees currently has 7 million.
Okay, well,
So
what about 4 years ago?
4 years ago, they probably had more listeners before they put out this piece of trash, garbage ass final album.
Hey man,
God damn.
none of my bands
It
ever
was
get
awful.
over none of my bands ever get over 500,000, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. I listen to the most mainstream shit, losers.
No, we know, buddy. Pop psychology.
Is good. It's good.
Yeah, if
It-
you're dumb, if you're dumb,
Stop. You're trying to piss me off. I'm not doing it tonight.
it's working
I'm
too.
not doing it tonight.
All right. So, with Kevin's last pick,
Okay.
that means it's my turn to pick the next band.
We should
And
skip
next
you didn't give an overall score.
overall score is fuck you. That's
for the
score.
band. So the
Wow, never
overall.
mind.
Oh, I did
Like,
have it. I did.
No, not fuck
Ice
you,
Nine
Kevin.
Kills
Fuck
gets a
George.
0.
Fuck
Fuck
him.
it.
Fuck him.
No, I have an overall score written down. So the overall score that I gave Ice Nine. Ouch! Hit my knee on the table. The overall score that I gave Ice. God damn! I hit my knee again. The overall score that I gave Ice Nine Kills was an 8.9.
Wow, I gave him an 8.5.
And I gave them a 7.5.
Wow. I'm gonna change mine. No, I think that's pretty. They're a good band. They're good at what they do. They are cut above the rest, as they even say themselves.
Yep.
But yeah,
Well, the rest does not include the neon trees, so
no, because
The neon
Ice Nine Kills is in their own little stratosphere.
Yeah,
Ice Nine
yeah.
Kills or Neon Trees is in a little cave trying to figure out the psychology of pop music.
which they figured out masterfully.
Yeah, I bet they did. That's why they broke up afterward.
Did they though? Because they're still releasing albums.
But they broke up for 6 years because the psychology of pop was just awful.
No, they had to take some time off to bask in the glory of the majestic artwork they put out.
Yeah, and every time I eat a good cheeseburger, I go jerk off too.
Okay, well, don't we all?
No, and none of that was relevant. So Kevin picked Ice Nine Kills, which means I get to pick the next band. And for that next band, I am picking something that is relevant to all of us. You might even say they're cute. And something that we should all aim to be. It is cute is what we aim for. And next week, we are really going to be talking about them.
Oh yes,
So,
blazing.
so
Please.
hard next week.
Next week is going to be crazy because they are a very heavy band. But,
super heavy.
But this has been the Monkey Man.
Evan.
And John.
And goodbye.
There is no real need to